Spring is right around the corner. Finally, it feels like winter has lasted like a year. This time of year is known for when you reach for a broom, declutter your cupboards and drawers, and scrub the skirting boards. But what about your money? Taking an opportunity to have a financial spring clean can declutter bad money habits, tidy up your budget, spruce up your savings, and ensure that you have enough money in place for all of the fun stuff you have coming up, like holidays and birthdays and Christmas. Here's what I'm doing to spring clean my finances for a fresh start this year. The first thing I'm doing in my financial spring clean is cleaning up accounts. I think it's quite rare to have just one bank account and one savings account these days. Most people have multiple savings accounts. They probably have multiple pensions because they've changed jobs over the years. It's worth taking some time to take stock of exactly where your money is sitting and whether you need to have a shuffle around and close any old accounts. If you have multiple accounts collecting dust, hidden fees, or barely any interest, then it is definitely time to clean house. And also guys, don't forget to check any money apps that you have downloaded over the years. A lot of these budgeting apps such as Emma and Plum have the option for you to set up pots where you can set aside set amounts of money every month or random amounts of money here and there. Have you left any money in there? It's well worth going back and having a look. I personally have money in various places. I have pensions, 3 of them. I have ISAs, I have easy access savings, I have a current account, we have our joint current account, I also have an investment account, and I have premium bonds too. For those who don't know what premium bonds are, this is a government-backed option for somewhere to put your savings in the UK. Every single month you're entered into a prize draw and those prizes are tax-free. The big obvious downside to it is that you may not win anything. It's not a guaranteed interest rate like you get with a savings account. It really depends if you win on the prize draw. And the more money that you have in premium bonds, the more likely you are to win. But even then, you're not guaranteed one of the big prizes because the prize draw is done completely at random. I've done reasonably well with my premium bonds over the years. I like the fact that it's easy access and there is that feeling that maybe, just maybe one day I might win that top £1 million prize, or maybe even 100 grand. Obviously, I've diversified my savings to other places as well because I'm very aware that with premium bonds, I am not earning a regular amount of interest. So once you've tracked down exactly where all your money is and found any old accounts, the next things that you want to do are consider closing old and rarely used accounts and consolidating them into other accounts that you do use regularly. Move your savings to high yield savings accounts. If your money is currently sitting in a savings account earning 0.01% interest, then you are leaving money on the table, my friend. Have a shop around, find a decent high yield savings account that works for you. Obviously the rules on them really vary. If you need access to your money regularly, you want a nice easy access savings account. You're probably going to sacrifice competitive interest rates for the option of being able to withdraw your money regularly. If your money is being put away for a longer term, then you can probably find a better deal on the interest rate. Shop around to see what's going to work for you. And finally, check in on your pensions and see how much you're projected to have when it comes to your retirement. And I get this is such an abstract topic. I really do. Like, why do we want to lock money away for all these decades? I am of the belief with my pensions anyway that one day it's going to be worth it and I'm going to be so relieved that I did regularly save money into a pension. If after you check in on your pension you find that you've got a bit of a shortfall in what you would like to have once you retire, then you can make changes to how much you're saving now. Small amounts really can add up over time. For example, if you put in an extra £100 into your pension per month, you could have an extra £69,994 after 30 years. And that's assuming a return of 4%. But if the return is 6%, then you'll have an extra £100,562. Well worth it. Obviously, with pensions and any investment, your return is not guaranteed. However, historically, over time, you gain more than you lose. Now in the UK, we are coming to the end of the financial year, which means that the ISA allowance resets. ISAs come in a few different guises, but the main ones that I use are a cash ISA and stocks and shares ISA. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, an ISA is an individual savings account. It lets you save or invest tax-free. It's a smart way to maximize your money if you're someone who saves enough that you pay tax on the interest you earn on your savings or investments. Just remember, as with any investing with a stocks and shares ISA, it's a bit of a roller coaster. The value can come up, the value can go down. So for me personally, all the money that I put in my stocks and shares ISA is money that I put away with the knowledge that it's being locked away for a longer term. So hopefully I get some decent growth over time, but I know that some years I may see a bit of a dip in the value. You can save a maximum amount of £20,000 split between different ISAs every year. Now, there's some talk at the moment that that maximum amount that you can save into an ISA may drop to £4,000 a year. And this would be, in theory, to encourage people to put more money into the stocks and shares ISA. Now, for now, there's absolutely no confirmation of that, but it might just be a useful bit of information to file away for you if you're someone who regularly hits that top 20k, or at the very least, you're someone who regularly saves more than £4,000 per year into a cash ISA. So with that ISA allowance set to reset in April, this is a good time of year for me to take a look at how much did I manage to save into ISAs this year, and have I got anything extra that I can pop into those ISAs just to make the most out of the allowance before the end of the financial year. And by the way, you can also get junior ISAs for kids. This is something that we have chosen not to do, and I think it's a very personal decision. The reason we've done that is that we never save enough to go beyond the £20,000 allowance a year. So we don't need to make use of the allowance that our kids could get in an ISA. And we have concerns about them getting access to it from age 18. We are saving for our children regularly so that they will have money when they're 18 to pay for big stuff like a car, like a house deposit, maybe like a wedding one day. This is just something I don't want them to get at 18 and get a little bit too excited and end up splurging a load of it. Now, I'm sure at 18 they will be very well-rounded, well-adjusted, good people who are good with money, but we just want to keep control over that money. So I do happen to have a little bit of extra money this month, which is surprising because it's been my daughter's birthday and my husband's birthday over the last few weeks. So it's been a fairly expensive period of time, but I'm going to use this to top up my stocks and shares ISA and my cash ISA. The next thing on the financial spring clean checklist is to declutter your debt. I think that debt can be a little bit like a junk drawer that you keep meaning to clear out, but you just can never quite face it because it's such a mess in there. And over time you add more and more stuff to it and it becomes more and more overwhelming and you just cannot face even opening it anymore. It's just somewhere that you quickly open, stuff something else in and then shut again, and you look away and carry on with your day. But the sooner that you tackle your debt, the better. So to start off with, make a list of all of your debts and don't forget to make a note of the interest rates that you are paying on those. Now, there are a few different payoff strategies that people like to use. One of those is called the snowball method, and the theory behind that is that you pay off the smallest debt first, and that motivates you to keep going and tackling the bigger debts later. It gives you a quick win. Alternatively, there's the avalanche method, which is where you tackle those big debts first in order to save yourself more money, because it's those big debts that you're probably losing more money on in terms of interest. If it all feels overwhelming, then seek out free, impartial advice from one of the many consumer help charities that there are out there. In the UK, you've got charities that will help you with debt, such as Citizens Advice and Step Change. They can take you through all of your debts and help you to make a plan that's going to work for you to tackle this once and for all. The next thing to do for a financial spring clean is to organise the paperwork. I don't really get that much financial paperwork these days, although there's a couple of my pension providers that still send me letters, and let's face it, it's really nice to receive post, even if it is about your pension. Take some time to file paperwork and shred any paperwork that you no longer need. And if you don't have one already, create a Money HQ folder where you keep all of your important paperwork. And it's also worth just checking in on any digital records that you have that you need to keep for things such as a self-employed self-assessment tax return. If you are self-employed like me, then you have to remember to keep all of those receipts and make sure that you keep good digital records of your income and your expenses. I find that this point of the year is quite a good time to just check in on how my records are. Is everything in order? Now, I'm not going to be filing my self-assessment anytime soon. I normally leave that until the end of the year, but it's good to do a little bit of work on it throughout the year so that it doesn't feel really, really overwhelming when I get to the point where I file my self-assessment and send it off to the tax man. The next thing I'm doing in my financial spring clean is cleaning up my budget and fixing any leaks. You know how random clutter piles up in your house, particularly if you have kids? Exactly the same thing happens with your spending. And just like with the clothes in your wardrobe, it's a really good idea to take stock and decide what you're going to ditch and what you're going to keep. A really good place to start with this is regular bills. Some will be increasing around this time of year. In fact, this week our council tax bill came through and I was like, whoa, like it was a little bit scary, but at least we know and at least we can make a plan. Our energy bills have also gone up recently, hooray! So this is just something that we're looking at in our own household when it comes to looking at our monthly budget and making sure that we can afford all of the things that we need to afford this year. So take stock of what your monthly cost is just to survive. So that's your mortgage or rent, that's any bills that you pay on your house, such as energy bills or water bills. Those are your essential costs. Then obviously you need to look at food and your essential transport costs. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that a food budget is a really great place for a quick win and somewhere that you could claw back £100 or even more a month if you take a look at it and make a few changes. Now, I've made quite a few videos about saving money on your food budget. I'll link to some of those in the description below. Once you've taken stock of those monthly bills, now is a really good time to have a look and see if any of those could be reduced. Could your insurance bill be reduced by switching provider? Could your energy bills be reduced? It is hard to find a better deal at the moment. It absolutely is. But maybe they do exist. Do a little bit of research and see if you can save some money on that. Once you've taken a look at those big expenses, it's then a good idea to take 10 minutes and check your budget for money leaks. Those little expenses that add up. That might include daily takeout lunches, coffees and drinks when you're out and about, subscriptions that you never use. As part of this process, guys, of checking your subscriptions, don't forget to check in with your PayPal account if you have one. I know that a couple of my subscriptions come out of my PayPal account. And don't forget to check for annual subscriptions as well that you may have missed, the cost of which may come out every year and you totally forget to cancel it. If you identify anything that is not bringing you joy and good value for money, then axe it, and this will help your money grow over the next year. Next, refresh your savings goals and automate them. Once you have a clearer picture of your budget, you can review your savings goals. Check in on what you have now and what it is that you want to achieve this year and make it realistic. There is nothing worse than deciding a lofty goal of I'm going to save 20 grand this year when you earn 30 grand, you live in a house, you have expenses, you have kids. There's no realistic prospect in any way that you are going to manage to save 20 grand this year. No way. So whatever it is that you're going to save, make it realistic, because then you'll end the year with a sense of achievement rather than a feeling of failure. The things that I consider when I'm reviewing my savings are the big one-offs that I'm saving for, such as a brand new house. Another option in this might be that you need to get a new car. Now, these big expenses may not come this year. They may not even come next year, but they're things that you can see are coming some point down the road. Like if your car is running on fumes, maybe you think, yeah, that is definitely going to need to be replaced this year. Maybe you think you can get it to keep going for just another year, but it's something you need to have in the back of your mind. You need to plan for it in your savings so that you can afford to replace that car. Next, expected unavoidable expenses. This is things like holidays, birthdays, Christmas, insurance renewals, and my car costs. I like to make sure that I am saving a regular amount every single month for these things. I don't want to have a month where none of these expenses are coming up. There's no birthdays, there's no Christmas, my car tax isn't due. I don't want to have a month where I think, hey, none of these things are happening. I'm just going to spend everything that I earn this month. That's a bad idea, because then I get to a very expensive summer where I've got holidays, a lot of my car costs fall, and all of a sudden all of that pressure is being lumped on my summer income. That's not good. I don't want that kind of pressure in my life. So I like to spread the cost. I add up how much my expected expenses are going to be over the course of the year, divide it by 12, and I set aside an amount every single month. And then there's also my emergency fund, and this is money for dealing with the unexpected. I like to have 6 months of expenses in an easy access savings account. That covers me in case of job loss or anything dramatic happens with the house. Now, I actually don't have automation for a lot of my savings. I have automation for one of my savings accounts. The reason I don't use a lot of automation is because my income fluctuates so much from month to month. So I have a set percentage of my income that I will save. If I have a particularly amazing month, then I will bump that up and I will save the extra. Occasionally, I'll spend a bit of that extra money that I earned because, you know, life has to be lived. You have to have a little bit of fun. But yeah, I try to make sure that I'm really religious with having a set proportion of my income that I am saving. By doing all of this, you are helping your future self. You're ensuring that you can meet the big goals that you want to meet. you're making life less stressful for yourself, you're avoiding debt, and you're paving the way for your own financial freedom. The next thing to do as part of your financial spring clean is to commit to your financial education, which sounds on the face of it incredibly boring, but actually guys, it's really fun. One of the best things that I have done in recent years is to take an interest in personal finance and money management. That does not have to mean reading incredibly dry, boring books about the stock market or like stuff that you're just not interested in. One of the best things I've done is just to read the personal money advice columns in newspapers. They're always really interesting to read because you get to delve into a bit of someone's private life, how much money they're making, what they're spending their money on, and it often provides you with advice that you could apply to your own life. I read articles from experts about the latest data on how much the average person is earning and saving, and these kind of things just give me insights into sort of where I sit alongside my peers and other earners in the country, other people my age. And it just gives me a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of a nudge to try and do a little bit better with my own personal finances. It's inspired me to make small changes now that will add up over time and really help future me out, and also my kids too. And it's given me a lot more confidence to take advantage of investing for my longer term financial goals. As I said, you don't have to buy stacks of books in order to take an interest in improving your financial education. Looking at newspaper websites, money sections, there is a ton of resources there. However, I would recommend that if you are interested in improving your financial literacy, checking out The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It is a fantastic book and I've got so much advice from it, and it's really, really not a difficult read. My final piece of advice in this video is to make just one money move today. If all of this feels overwhelming, I totally get it. When it comes to spring cleaning, for me, I don't like to do it all in one go. I like to do it in small chunks. So I will take just one drawer, empty it, ditch the stuff I don't need, reorganize the stuff that I do need, clean the drawer, put everything back in neatly. That takes just 15 minutes, but it's an improvement. And over the course of the week, I will repeat that in various other areas of the house until by the end of the week, I can see there's been a significant improvement. So why not pick just one thing to get you started with your financial spring clean? It could be cancelling just one unused subscription, checking all of your accounts where money may be lurking. Do not forget to check in with any money-making apps or websites that you have used in the past to see if there is money that you have forgotten to withdraw, because with a lot of these, you have to withdraw the money. I'm talking about things like survey sites such as YouGov or cashback sites such as Airtime Rewards and Top Cashback. Another thing you could do is setting up an auto transfer to your savings account, spending a little bit of time calculating your expected expenses for the year, such as Christmas and your holiday, or maybe even checking in on your pensions and seeing if you are saving enough to have the retirement lifestyle that you would like to have. So there you have it. That is my list for a financial spring clean. I really hope that you found it useful. Let me know in the comments if you are going to be sprucing up your finances this spring. Is there anything that I missed on my list that you will be doing? And don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more from me.